Now, what if assistive technology could become the bridge between limitations and limitless possibilities? Samarth by Hyundai, which is an initiative by Hyundai Motor India Limited, is paving the way towards an inclusive and accessible world for persons with disabilities, one innovation at a time. Through this platform, we are showcasing changemakers and innovators who are building assistive technologies that empower persons with disabilities to navigate life with confidence and independence. Have a look at how this Pune-based startup is creating inclusive technology for deaf people in India.
Welcome to our segment Catalyst for Change as part of the Samarth by Hyundai initiative. Samarth is an initiative by Hyundai Motor India Limited towards creating a more aware and inclusive society for persons with disabilities in India. And in its second year, it focuses on showcasing assistive technology and accessible infrastructure as a means to creating a barrier-free world. Catalyst for Change में हम मिलेंगे कुछ ऐसे लोगों से, कुछ ऐसे innovators, educators, policy makers, entrepreneurs जो समर्पित है एक ऐसा भविष्य बनाने के लिए जहां पर हर व्यक्ति को बराबरी और dignity से जीने का हक मिले. They show us that change is not a distant hope, but a lived reality shaped by those who dare to act. आज हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर आलिम चंदानी, जो एक डेफ सोशल एंटरप्रेन्योर और उभरते हुए आर्ट क्यूरेटर हैं. He recently curated Beyond Signs and an ISL Jam event celebrating Indian Sign Language and deaf performance art, working in association with the organization Access for All. Dr. Alim facilitated the ISL interpretation you saw at Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour earlier this year in India. अपने कलेक्टिव और सोशल वेंचर फ्रीडम टू साइन के जरिए वो डेफ आर्टिस्ट को सशक्त बनाते हैं, ISL को प्रमोट करते हैं और आर्ट और क्रिएटिव इंडस्ट्रीज में समावेशी स्पेस तैयार करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं. We also have in the studio with us Surbhi Taneja, who is an Indian Sign Language interpreter. Today, she will be the Indian Sign Language interpreter, signing and voicing our conversation with Dr. Alim. And thank you very much for joining us here today, Dr. Alim. So I want to begin by asking you, tell us a little bit about your story. How was it? What was that one moment in life that made you think that no, this is not a weakness? I mean, I'm just like anybody else.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. I remember when I came to India and I met a deaf person and I told them that, I'm also deaf, and we related having the same disability, and they said, help me find a job, help me do this, help me do that. So I looked at that person, had a very negative perspective of being a deaf person and a lot towards sympathy. He didn't take pride on being a deaf person and using sign language. So that was the moment that made me realize that growing up, I also did not have access to sign language till the age of 21. And all my life, of course, I had great education, but I always felt lonely. I always felt different, that something was wrong with me. What was different with me? But when I found out about sign language and it got to me, I learned about deaf culture, I learned about confidence building, and that just gave me so much hope that I can be a better person, and I am so proud of being a deaf person. So I see millions of deaf people here in India, they face the same challenges, where they think that sign language is not something that will make them successful. Their parents, when they get to know by the doctors, when a deaf child is born, the doctors say, I'm sorry. And that's, that your child has a hearing loss. The first impression that they get of their child is of a failure, is of a negative connotation. So growing up, they never feel positive. So that is where, I realized that if I'm moving to India, I need to have a training program where we talk about being proud of being deaf, talk about sign language access. talk about deaf identity, talk about the fact that you can be successful and you can do whatever you want. So that is my story.
You made a very interesting point there. आपने हमें ये समझाया कि लोगों का जो परसेप्शन है इस डिसेबिलिटी या फिर डेफनेस की तरफ वो भी चेंज करना साथ में बहुत ज़रूरी है. एक तरफ आपका इनिशिएटिव है जहाँ पर जो लोग डेफ हैं उनको समझाना कि इसे आप वीकनेस न समझें. वहीं दूसरी तरफ ये भी बहुत ज़रूरी है कि दुनिया डेफनेस को किस तरीके से देखती है, किस तरीके से परसीव करती है. तो आपको लगता है कि उस चीज़ को भी टैकल करना ज़रूरी है. क्या आपने उस चीज़ की तरफ भी कुछ काम किया है?
एक मैं फनी इंसिडेंट यहाँ पे आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहूँगा. कोई भी नया व्यक्ति अगर आके मुझसे मिलता है, जैसे हम कहीं खाना खाने बाहर जा रहे हैं, डेट पे जा रहे हैं और मैं उनको बताऊँ कि मैं डेफ हूँ, तो फर्स्ट थिंग वो जो बोलेंगे आई एम सॉरी. एंड मैं बोलूँगा क्यों, मेरे लिए सॉरी क्यों फील कर रहे हैं, आई एम नॉट ब्रोकन. एंड they just start laughing and the awkwardness is there. So मैं बस बोलता हूँ be yourself and I'm going to be myself. So that behavior that we see again and again every day, ये इसलिए है क्योंकि एक्सेसिबल सर्विसेज नहीं हैं. लोगों को कॉन्वर्जेशंस के बारे में पता ही नहीं है कि आप एक डेफ व्यक्ति से नॉर्मली कॉन्वर्जेशन कर सकते हो. सो दैट एक्सपीरियंस एक्चुअली टॉट मी टू सेट अप अ फैक्ट दैट व्हेनेवर यू आर मीटिंग डेफ पीपल, अंडरस्टैंड देयर आइडेंटिटी, understand how to empower them and advocate there for their own rights, because each person has their own right. In India हम देखते हैं कि बहुत सारी कंपनीज और सी अच्छी बात है, लेकिन जब तक आप इनसाइड से you're not feeling confident about yourself, proud of yourself, you can never be successful at your work. So to understand about self-reflection, our own identity, accepting our identity is something which is very important. So जब मैंने ये सेंटर स्टार्ट किया था तो बहुत सारे लोग इम्पैक्ट हुए थे. एंड मैं देख रहा हूँ कि बहुत सारे बधिर लोग जो हैं साइन लैंग्वेज को लेके बहुत प्राउड हैं. हमें RPWD एक्ट के बारे में भी पता है, वो भी इंक्लूड करता है. स्कूल पॉलिसीज में भी अब आ रहा है कि साइन लैंग्वेज का मैंडेट बहुत ज़रूरी है. सोशल मीडिया पे भी आप देखेंगे कि बहुत बधिर लोग आगे आके अपनी स्टोरीज शेयर कर रहे हैं. तो डेफिनेटली ये ट्रेनिंग एक वेकअप कॉल भी था मेरे लिए भी.
I want you to elaborate for our viewers, how are emerging technologies today impacting accessibility for the deaf? What are the challenges in making them, say, affordable for socio-economic barriers?
जो मेरा एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज था जब मैं इंडिया आया था, और मेरे को लगता है बहुत बधिर लोगों का भी है, कि हम लोगों की आदत है हम हर बात पे फ़ोन बहुत करते हैं. आपको खाना ऑर्डर करना है तो आपको डिलीवरी पार्टनर फ़ोन करेंगे, आपको कुछ भी फ़ोन करना है, वो हर चीज़ फ़ोन पे चलती है यहाँ पे. बट मैं फ़ोन कैसे उठाऊँ? So technology is great, but access for me is not there. And at the same time, I also see that AI is now coming up, and a lot of live captioning is happening in different places. In classrooms it is happening, so that is great. But 100% correction तो नहीं है, वो टाइम लगेगा आने में. I do see a lot of people coming in creating technological solutions to eradicate interpreters by having avatars. And the idea is phenomenal, but it's a very long way to go. We're not ready now.
Okay. You've also curated exhibitions like Beyond Science and ISL Jam that blend art, identity and accessibility. As an artist myself, I want to ask you this question. Art को हर एक इंसान जो है अपने नज़रिए से देखता है, समझता है. आप एक मैसेज देना चाहते हैं आर्ट के थ्रू, बट उसको सामने वाला किस तरह से इंटरप्रेट करेगा, समझेगा, वो उसकी समझ के ऊपर है. Why do you think it's a very powerful medium and why did you pick art?
Growing up, I was always interested in art, but I did not get enough support to become an artist. तो मैं दूसरी फील्ड्स में काम करने लगा. बट जब मैं इंडिया में आया तो मैंने देखा कि बहुत सारे बधिर आर्टिस्ट आर एक्सेलेंट, बिकॉज उनको इंक्लूसिव वर्ल्ड नहीं मिला तो वो क्या करते थे, आर्ट करने लगते थे. एंड आई सॉ दे हैव फिनोमिनल ब्यूटिफुल आर्ट पीसेस एंड दे आर डूइंग समथिंग सो ग्रेट, एंड आई वांटेड टू सपोर्ट देम. Through art, through visuals, through films, you can show the world and you can show the world how to bring about a change from our perspective.
And I also want to talk to you a little bit about how we can promote inclusive hiring practices. What are some of the policy changes that you think are needed today to create a supportive environment for deaf people in India?
बहुत तरीके हैं इसको करने के, and one of the examples which I can give is of Coldplay. Coldplay happened in India and I was like so happy because I knew they have some high levels of accessibility standards. And for me as a deaf person and other deaf people to come there, it will be amazing to show them what real access looks like in India. And India will learn from that for all events, for all concerts. And how it was different, I'll tell you here, is that Coldplay, they decided to make sure that the floor was given openly to the deaf, and we had a space which was just reserved for us. We had interpreters there, sign language interpreters. We had vibrating vests so that we could feel the music. So when I invited deaf people to come, they never imagined that an event like this was something that could be made accessible. They always thought that it is only for non-signing people. But when they came, they just felt such a big change, and it was such an impact that you can also enjoy music. And now they want to go to different concerts, which they missed out on all their life. So this is an example of how a change can be brought in, and accessibility at different events are so necessary.
Last question, what is going to be your message? We've spoken about the concerns here, we've spoken about the solutions a little bit. अगर आप एक मैसेज देना चाहें पॉलिसी मेकर्स और गवर्नमेंट के लिए एक मैसेज, जो लोग डेफ हैं उनके लिए एक मैसेज, a message of hope, and the society at large, what will that one message each be for these three groups?
Okay. Firstly, कुछ भी आप प्लान कर रहे हो, any design, please have a deaf person. We know the best from the beginning, not later. From the beginning. Second, for the society, I would like to give a message. Try to learn sign language. If you can't learn sign language, at least do gestures. Don't think of what is this and what is that. Just go with the flow and provide access that is needed. My message for the government would be that at NCERT, related to the education, any decisions that are made, the textbooks that are getting translated in ISL, it's not enough. There has to be more visuals, more descriptive understanding. So this is one of the examples. If a deaf person, expert was involved in this from the very beginning, the quality could have been really better. So I hope in the future, if the government or policy makers, you're making anything for the deaf, you're starting any new project for the deaf, and you want them to be really inclusive, involve a deaf person from the very beginning, because we know what's best for us.
I said that was going to be my last question, but with your permission, one more if I can slip in. Visual vernacular is captivating and universally understandable as well. Could that be adapted as a tool in awareness campaigns or even signage in public spaces to make accessibility more engaging as well as cross-lingual?
Yes, for sure. This is a new concept that is coming in, visual vernacular, throughout the world, and India also recently, for the first time this year, we had a group of 5 people who started practicing visual vernacular. You actually don't need a language to do visual vernacular. It's all visual. Anyone can see it and clearly understand it even without interpreters or captions. So I just hope that this grows and people use it as a tool even for campaigns, even for advocacy, and I hope so.
We hope so too. Thank you very much, Dr. Alim. It was wonderful interacting with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. And in the coming months, we will be talking to many more catalysts who continue changing the narrative for persons with disabilities, creating a barrier-free world and a Samarth society. Thank you for tuning in to this special segment on the Samarth by Hyundai initiative.